welcome back to Rose Gold Library. It's me, Jackie. I'm super excited for those who are returning for my videos, or if you're new here. I'm currently doing a bunch of book reviews and just see what gets my attention. So this is a non-fiction book that has no correlation to any of the Disney properties that are vaguely loosed on some of the books, plays, or whatever is floating my butt at the moment. This one is The Radium Girls, the scary but true story of the poison that made people glow in the dark, the Young Readers edition. So this was a bit of a heartbreaking, but I've been really, how do I explain this? Mainly doing it at work or just having a quick 10 minutes and just breezing through. So this is 432 pages. I'm not sure the original, but I read this as an ebook. I don't normally read ebooks, so it was a fun experience. So this is by Kate Moore, and it's vaguely... I always have a hard time with genres because I'm not sure how do I define a genre. Sometimes it's what I get off of Google or the author's own background, or I just kind of make it hey, it's vaguely related to this. So, the genre is U.S. history, World War II, World War I, from 1914 to 1918, women in war work, radium paint in history, and biography. Because it is focused on multiple people, mainly the women working in the factories and how that affects them later on in life. So the publisher is Source Books Explorer 2020, so this was the 2020 version. I just read the ebook of it, and I read this during late March, early April. So the summary is the history of the fight of the Radium Girls. Hundreds of young women were affected by radium, a radioactive element, during the early 1900s, working on the watches in World War I weapons. The radium slowly poisoned their bodies, and the company did nothing about it. This book is the stories of the fight the women were doing legally and hoping to get justice and hopefully peace. It's because with radium it slowly corroded their bodies, but no one knew at the time. So one thing I really wanted to do is a lot of green, because radium is a bright green, and it was everywhere. People were thinking it was a health juice because it's bright glowing. So when that was happening during that craze and World War I came, since all these women were radium dialing, basically glow-in-the-dark watches, they had the skills to implement that to machinery, using radium. Basically, instead of watches, they used weapons. But they had a thing, a technique, where they would dip the powder, use their lips to make it into a very pointed brush, and then continue back and forth. So with that, it kind of stepped into their bloodstreams, their bones, everything. It's also the element that Marie Curie found, and it also killed her. So the prologue is what gets me. Paris, France, 1901. The scientist has forgotten all about the radium. Page 29 through 30. Yeah, it starts on 29 because both pages 1 through 28 were just information, and also it was kind of hard because I read it on an ebook. So chapter 1 starts with Newark, New Jersey, 1917. Catherine Shrub had a jauntly spring in her step as she walked the brief 4 blocks to work. Chapter 47, One More Day, which is the last chapter. And it was Catherine Wolfe, in the end, who had led them to victory. And the epilogue, they made every second count. A postscript, which I wasn't sure if I should include, but the line haunts me. How quickly we forget. And I felt a little bit of tears. And one of my favorite quotes, because I realized how influential it was on page 417 through 418 in chapter 38. No wonder the town was behind them when they apparently took such good care of their employees and seemed willing to put people before profits. It's talking about the company, how no one believed the company would be the one responsible. So my thoughts on this is that it's a book in depth on the atrocities that these women have faced, and I can't wait to read the original one, which was intended for a more adult audience. It probably has a lot more medical and legal jargon in it, but reading this, I did feel hurt in a good way, and I'm glad they had victory in the end. Would I recommend? Yes, if you're interested in the time period and want to know a little bit of like a niche history that you always see in like one of those true crime channels, or like, did you know? This is a good read, and knowing the actual women's names that were affected by. And that's pretty much it. I really do like it because currently everyone has a weird niche hyperfixation on a current time period. So this is a good book to get back into that. Thank you so much. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and don't forget to leave a comment down below if you want to see something new or recommend a new book. Bye-bye.